Hey everybody, I'm Jiles, and this is JDM World. In this episode of Jiles' Journey, things get really cool. So Starke Sound is still working on the room diagram for me, so they took my dimensions and they're gonna make a diagram showing where to put speakers and angles and acoustic treatments and all that stuff, which is really, really nice. And that's a service that they offer to all of their Halo customers. But in this episode today, we get to actually start touching some hardware. So while I wait for that design, I've got my hands on an A7 amplifier, and we're gonna take this guy and open him up and take a look under the hood. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not, but I've got a screwdriver and this thing is calling to me. You know, they say that there are 7 mono blocks inside this thing, so it's an architecture that's not quite like other amplifiers, and I really wanna see what that looks like. So in the episode today, we're gonna look at the specs of the A7, we're going to unbox it, and we're gonna crack it open and take a look and see what's on the inside. While we're unboxing this 140-pound beast, let's talk about specs, specifically about power. So this is rated at 240 watts into 8 ohms and 480 watts into 4 ohms. And Starke Sound speakers are nominal 4 ohm speakers, so this is the expected load for this amplifier at its maximum output. It's a Class A amplifier, which is where you want to be when you are thinking about sound quality. However, efficiency for Class A is horrible. So they've introduced technology into this amp, and it's nothing new, right? This has been around for a while, that allows the amp to slide into Class AB mode under heavy load, and that might be called a Class H amplifier with a variable rail voltage. What I'm going to do is put a link up in the corner where you can listen to Dan Wiggins, the designer of the amplifier, talk about this in another YouTube video where he was doing an interview. So check that out to understand more about the specs of how this thing pulls off its feed of 480 watts by 7 into 4 ohms, which is a pretty significant feat of engineering. You might be asking yourself, why is Jiles sitting on the floor? Well, it goes back to the fact that this amp weighs 145 pounds. I was going to bring a table down and put it on the table, make everything look nice, but you know what? No, 145 pounds can stay right where it is. The only time this is gonna move is when I pick it up and put it in the cabinet, and I'm gonna roll the cabinet right beside it to get that done. Right now though, we're gonna pop the top on this thing and take a look under the hood. I've got my screwdriver and I've got my bravery going, I've got my nerves up. So let's take this thing apart and see what happens. While I'm popping the top on this amp, let's talk about a couple of more items that set this apart from the competition. So first, the frequency response is from 5 Hz to 50 kHz, and that's pretty interesting. The inputs and outputs, well, at least the RCAs and the binding posts are beryllium, that's gold-plated, and it also has XLRs that are gold-plated too. Signal-to-noise ratio is greater than 115 decibels, A-weighted, and total harmonic distortion is less than 0.045% at 1 kHz at 480 watts at 4 ohms. Now, it is less than 0.15% at 20 kilohertz, if you can actually hear that, at 480 watts at 4 ohms. Okay, we've got this thing cracked open now, and I can see why it's so heavy. I mean, these are solid plates of metal, whatever kind of material they are, and this stuff is heavy. And as you can see, this is fully complemented with 7 monoblocks. And my understanding is that these are all independently serviceable, meaning that if one of these guys dies, instead of trying to take this whole unit and mail it back for service, you can somehow take it apart and pull one of these out and then send it off. It looks like there's a bus on this side that, there's like a master bus on this side that it attaches to, and then you would need to probably remove all of the connectors on this side and pull this plate off, and then it would be able to slide out. So it's a very interesting model for an amplifier to have it serviceable. Also, you can buy these with anything from 1 to 7 monoblocks, I believe. So if you wanted to get an A7 but in a A4 format, you know, maybe it's spaced out like that, or you could get one with 2 and then grow it later with additional units. So it's really cool. It's an amp that can grow with you, and it is just rock solid and looks really good. I would like to run it with the top off if it were safe, but it's probably not safe to have something pushing 480 watts by 7 with the top off. Thanks for watching as we've explored the Starke Sound A7 Mark II amplifier. For more details, there will be a link below to the Starke Sound website. If you're interested in picking up one of these units, there'll be distributor information there as well. In the next episode, we're actually going to install the amplifier, so you'll get to see how all the cabling's done as well as the AVR configuration. If you have any cabling suggestions, please drop them in the comments below. Thanks everybody.